Hello, hello. Welcome to a series where I blind test plugins from ads that I see. My name is Adam. I make plugins and produce music professionally. I'll link my 3 music projects in the description. Today we've got a plugin called Naturaliser by Rast Sound. I saw this ad, and I've actually never heard of the brand Rast Sound, but I was attracted by the claim of this tool. And it claims that it's a naturalizing effect plugin to help make your maybe MIDI instrumentation or recorded sounds sound a bit more real and natural, or even organic. So I'm really curious. I didn't look too much into it yet because I want to give it a proper blind test, and they have a free trial. So they say Naturaliser 2, micro variety that mimics performance. Your sound always alive. So mimicking performance. It looks like it's going to try to make things sound like they are real recordings. That's my guess. I see a noise module, some color and transient control, swing, so like a rhythmic control. But let's see what we've got. I know there's a free trial somewhere here. So to test this, I've got a session here that I started yesterday for my piano project. With this classical piano project, these songs are only piano. So they're supposed to sound really intimate and real, but I don't have a real piano in my apartment. So I've been referencing other classical music, piano-only songs, and I've been trying to kind of mimic this for a while. So the best thing that I've found is pick a good realistic sounding piano library. A lot of the times I use the native instruments ones. And then I just kind of found a combination of like different plugins like preamps, tapes, and EQs and stuff, then like small reverbs. This one's not fully mixed because I just wanted to write it out first. But for the most part, that's kind of been a problem for me when I do this music, is fighting the naturalism, because these libraries don't sound real. A lot of the times they sound really fake, even though they offer you like the hammer noise or the pianist noise or the felt noise. But I find that that's never ever sounding like an actual piano when you mic a piano. So let's see if this plugin can in any way help this situation. So this is an idea that I started yesterday. So I'll let you hear what it sounds like so that you can hear the context. So that's how the piano sounds now, the way that I have it. So when you play soft, it is kind of nice. But when you play louder, so it is still nice, but like I find that these instruments are really hard dynamically to control. So I'm not sure what this plugin is going to have to offer, but I think if there's any relevant application, it's probably something like this, where they're advertising it as a naturalizer. So if my issue is that this doesn't sound like a natural piano, maybe this will work. So let's see what this thing does. So amount, I guess we're going to want on. Okay, nothing's happening. Things are all the way up. Strength? 100% strength. It's already on 100%, but nothing's happening, and these are all turned up. What is going on? It's not detecting anything or doing anything. Maybe it can't. Maybe I have to play the song. Okay, so it needs the transport to run, I guess, in order for it to work. I guess that makes sense. If it's going to be doing some complex stuff to make sure something sounds real, it probably needs the data instead of just in real time. A lot of effects don't work in real time. But that definitely doesn't sound natural. That sounds like totally distorted and wrong and very explicitly unnatural, actually. Let's just turn everything off and see if we could figure out what's going on here. So nothing's happening when they're off. So let's hear what each one does. So it's adding like a clicky attack to the transient. But it's not happening on every note, so it's kind of weird. That sounds very unnatural. It should happen on every single note that's being played if it's going to mimic realism. But let's see what color does. So color, I think I don't agree with at all. Maybe for a piano, I don't know. The gating and the cadence and the rhythm of it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know why that's how it sounds. Let's see what Spectral does. All I hear is clicking. I don't know. And each of these kind of causes clicking, but I think that there's... So that fades it in, maybe, the smooth, because it's a time control. So there's a milliseconds. I'll just turn everything up and try to see what that's doing. So it's very clicky at the start. So you can fade it in. Okay, I get that. And it looks like when you dial these in, each of these like symbols or animations is each of these 3 modules. So it looks like there's like 3 modules to this thing, and then amount and strength. But I think it's weird that there's amount and strength. Like what's... Okay, so that's just like a gain up or something. It's just pumping everything even higher. So this is a typical dry wet. I guess that's like a boost, a gain, maybe an input gain control. How about noise? Yeah. You can filter the noise. But the rhythm, we got to look over here because it doesn't make any sense that it's playing in those like eighth notes. So sync, you can change the, okay. So there's host sync, there's free, which is probably just time, like a frequency. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense to me. It has to be like note-based detect. So if it detects the notes accurately, that's pretty much the only thing we would want here. I don't know why sense it. So that's kind of now detecting the onset of the notes correctly, more or less. It's a little too sensitive. Like just looking at these note iterations, like we can see when it should be playing. The problem is though with a real recorded MIDI, like there's gonna be an offset. Like these notes don't play at the same time, even though they're perceived that way. So this might be triggering like 2 noises here, but let's turn the sensitivity down a bit. Yeah, but then it's not enough. That's as close as we're gonna get maybe. So let's turn each of these things down again. So this is noise. Pink noise, white noise. White noise is a lot faker. You have to filter. What's a velvet? I'm gonna turn the filter off. Velvet, white. They're pretty similar. Yeah, pink is a lot more musical, and I know that based on like the theory. I'm gonna try to blend it in realistically. But I don't know, like, theoretically why you would want noise to play only when the notes are playing. Like, in a real recorded instrument, like, I know that people overlay noise with notes, like, to thicken a sound, like, sound design-wise, like, in a drum bus. I've seen people adding noise to their drums to thicken them up. But to naturalize something, I don't know why you would add noise just to the notes. Like, one thing I do a lot when I make these piano songs is I try to find a sound of just a recorded vintage microphone, like, just the noise. So I'll boost this as an example. So I use something like that, but I mix it way down, and then I play. I'm gonna turn this plugin off. And so you have some kind of bed under it, but it still doesn't sound real. So a lot of the times what I'll try to do is I'll sidechain gate them, because you kind of, in reality with a microphone, that noise is affected by the notes, kind of like what the plugin's trying to do. Like the noise is probably different when the notes hit, but it's still there in the background when there are no notes. So this plugin doesn't do the right thing theoretically, in my opinion. I'm gonna just play with this until I can get it to actually sound convincing or real. I don't know if it's gonna sound real, that's the thing, let's see. I don't really know what Spectral's even doing. I have no idea. Maybe you have to just mix it in really lightly. High strength, low amount. Too much noise. Yeah, so I mean, adding to me, the only thing that's actually kind of helping is adding the noise because I think I'm using a piano preset which doesn't have the felt sound. Some libraries do, like some grand piano libraries have control over that. I'm not using that, so like the noise could be convincing in this context, but it relies on this like gate trigger to detect the notes with only one sensitivity control. So I think just inherently an idea that's relying on like a level gate to detect notes is not going to be realistic because it's going to miss notes or it's going to be too sensitive and it's going to hear notes where there aren't notes. I'm already having difficulty controlling it with this. Like if we turn sensitivity all the way up, see what I mean? It's like hearing reverberations or reflections as more notes, even though they're not. But then when I get to a convincing sensitivity, it misses notes too. So it's kind of, this is difficult. And I don't think color makes any sense, at least on a piano. I think we should test this with a different instrument or context. So after this, I'll load a different session with a virtual guitar that's not real and see if we can get that to sound cool. But that's it. There's no more control than that. So I mean, why don't we switch over to a guitar? I'm going to load up a different project now. Shake her while I wait for Ableton to load my session. My head hurts, my head hurts. Ow, my head hurts.
Is it because my hat's too tight?
Sometimes. Okay, now I've got a session pulled up from a totally different project, very different context. This is from my Lonebody project. It's electronic pop usually. So I've got this new song that's kind of in its infancy production-wise, but I do already have a virtual guitar. I don't play the guitar. Sometimes I have my friends record the parts once I write the parts, but I'm using a virtual guitar plugin from UJam. And the virtual guitarist from UJam is pretty good at like playback behavior. So this is what it sounds like soloed. So the MIDI stat, like the rhythm is coming from the engine in the plugin. And then just to hear the instrumental, this is the instrumental. So if we take this guitar sound and then put the Naturaliser on it, I want to see what we can do. I'll play with different sync modes. I don't know, let's just turn it up. Forget how to make it noticeable. Cool. So it's blending better with the guitar because the guitar is already pretty noisy. So I'm already hypothesizing that more transparent or intimate things like a piano or orchestra or like soft emotional things, this might not work because it's digitizing and noisifying things. So it might work better on like guitars. This is everything turned up with a bit of noise. Let's lower the amount. So without it. Cool. So it does have a good effect on the guitar. Let's hear it in the context of the beat. Without the plugin. With the plugin. Let's exaggerate it some more just to hear it. And then let's just, for the shits and giggles, let's hear it how I had it with the LFO and the pan. So that's cool. I do think that it has merit to beefing up a sound and layering it with noise. I mean, if you think about it, it has color, which is probably saturation, but it sounds kind of like digitizing a bit. It has transient boosting, it has noise, and it's all gate powered. So it's really just about beefing things up. So I want to go to their website and read more about what it's supposed to be doing. Naturaliser introduces a rich tapestry of micro variations into incoming audio over time. It delivers subtle live performance nuance or bold transformations, always musical. Okay, it's showing waveforms. below how different intensities change the waveform. I don't really know why they're showing you that. Just because a waveform changes doesn't mean it sounds good or real. So here, spectral, subtle timbral shifts that add organic character without altering the fundamental tone. Micro changes to envelope and shape. Yes, we feel that. Color, tone, and character that moves over time. I don't really understand the spectral thing, so let's really focus on that. It's really subtle if it's even doing it. Color and transient are definitely doing way more than spectral. Okay, so closing thoughts. I was drawn to it from its design and its claim. It claims to naturalize. They named the plugin Naturaliser. I thought that's cool because that's a topic that's hard to do with virtual instruments. Every virtual instrument aspires to sound real and natural. A lot of them don't. Most of them don't because they aren't real. I don't think that this does that at all. I don't think it sounds natural. Because if you think about these modules in isolation, a transient boost, a color saturator, whatever spectral is, and noise. Like you have all those tools separately already in your stock DAW effects or with other plugins. If you wanted to make something sound natural, like you don't always need those things. So like making a guitar sound natural, my first thought might not be it needs more transients. That's a very specific thing. Saturation, sure, in like color, you can kind of imitate maybe an analog recording to make it warmer or more rich harmonically. Noise, I also agree with, but like I said earlier with the piano, layering noise only on the notes, gated for only the notes, doesn't make that much sense. For me, it's always been like with the piano, it's always been more about how the noise from the microphone interacts with the notes coming in. So like the noise is always going to be present, but it's changing a little bit when the notes are played. And this plugin doesn't really resolve that for me. But what I do think this is good for is beefing things up. It's a transient, it's saturation, it's got noise, it detects the notes, and it does do a good enough job. So I think in like modern production, like this song, for example, with a guitar, something deeper in a mix, you can make things pop more. But to me, it's more of like a beefing plugin. It's more of it's not a naturalizer, but it's more of a like a messifier or like an aggression tool. So I think it could be fun to put it on like drums, for example. I saw a plugin from some other ad, I forget who made it. It might have been WA Production. I didn't get to test it yet, but it's just about noise, and they say it's for drums, which is interesting because it's very specific. So it's not making this bold general claim. Like I think a lot of brands do that by mistake. They say this is good on everything, but in reality, there are a couple of use cases that are really more effective. So for this, I would think that since experimental sound design and drums are where this thing would actually be useful, I don't think it's useful in naturalizing. I don't think that it's doing what it's claiming that it does. What is the price on this? 49 euros. What is that, $55 or something? I don't know the conversion. Yeah, I don't see that it's adding human micro variety. That doesn't feel like what it's doing at all. But I do think it's a useful tool to use on other things. I could see myself buying this just to use it in more creative ways. I was misled though by the marketing and the claim. But yeah, I think the main value here is the gated noise module and the transient control. Like it does have a unique combination of ways to intensify note iterations. That's unique. I haven't seen a plugin that focuses explicitly on that. But again, it doesn't seem like a naturalizer to me. So yeah, do I think it's worth the value? I do. I don't see any weird bugs or over complexity. I think it's designed really well. I think the design looks super clean, and that's actually ultimately what drew me to the ad, that along with the claim that it's a naturalizer. So I think it failed on that claim. To me, this doesn't naturalize anything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this brutally honest blind test review. I'm glad I got to check this plugin out finally. It is cool. Like I said, I might purchase it and stick it in a couple of my productions over time, and we'll see how much repeat use I really get out of it. But the price is not that aggressive, so I do think it's a fair asking price, and it's a pretty clean looking plugin. So I do recommend it. I don't recommend it for naturalization of things. Hope you like this video. Subscribe. I do these videos just out of my pure interest. I work in the industry developing plugins, so I know a lot about productization, the marketing of them, what they're meant to be, and then more importantly, I am an active producer under 3 different projects under Apple Music record labels, and I work on a variety of different things. So I like to try to find unique ways to expand my palette of tools and plugins. So stick around for future videos, and thanks for watching.